Charlton Heston. Charlton Heston, the towering figure of biblical epics, was more than just the face of Moses in the Ten Commandments. His connection to Christianity ran deeper than the scripts he memorized. Heston's portrayal of religious figures wasn't just acting, it was a reflection of his own spiritual journey. What many don't realize is that Heston's faith wasn't always steadfast. In his early years, he wrestled with doubt, but his later life saw a profound shift. By the time he took on the role of Moses in the mid-1950s, he'd begun to see the character as more than a historical figure. Heston believed the role was a calling, a way to honor the faith he was rediscovering. Behind the scenes, he was known to consult with religious scholars to ensure his performances carried authenticity. Even more surprising, Heston became a vocal advocate for moral storytelling in Hollywood, often clashing with the industry's growing appetite for sensationalism. His faith also influenced his activism, as he supported causes that aligned with his Christian values, even when it made him a polarizing figure. Heston's life was a testament to the complexity of faith in a world that often demanded compromise. Jane Russell. Jane Russell, the sultry star of Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, was a paradox in Hollywood. Known for her glamorous image, she was also a devout Christian who refused to let the industry dictate her values. What few know is that Russell's faith was forged in the fires of personal struggle. After a botched medical procedure left her unable to have children, she turned to Christianity for solace. This moment of vulnerability became the foundation of her lifelong devotion. Russell didn't just practice her faith privately, she brought it into the heart of Hollywood. She co-founded the Hollywood Christian Group, a prayer and fellowship organization that attracted some of the biggest names in the industry. Even more astonishing, Russell turned down roles that she felt conflicted with her beliefs, a bold move in an era when actresses were often at the mercy of studio contracts. She also recorded gospel music, with her album Make a Joyful Noise selling over 1 million copies, a rare feat for religious music at the time. Russell's life was a balancing act between the glitz of Hollywood and the grounding force of her faith, a duality that made her one of the most intriguing figures of her era. Roy Rogers. Roy Rogers, the king of the cowboys, was more than just a Western icon. Beneath the cowboy hat and silver spurs was a man deeply committed to his Christian faith. Rogers' journey to Christianity wasn't a straight path. It was his wife, Dale Evans, who introduced him to the faith that would come to define his life. Together they became a beacon of Christian values in Hollywood, adopting several children and advocating for the rights of those with disabilities after the loss of their daughter Robin, who was born with Down syndrome. What's often overlooked is how Rogers used his fame to spread his beliefs. He refused to appear in films that glorified violence or immorality, a decision that cost him lucrative opportunities. Rogers also incorporated his faith into his public persona, often ending his television shows with a prayer or moral lesson. Behind the scenes, he was a member of the Hollywood Christian Group, where he encouraged other actors to embrace their faith. Rogers' legacy isn't just his films or his music, it's the way he lived his life as a testament to his beliefs, proving that even in the Wild West of Hollywood, faith could be a guiding star. Loretta Young. Loretta Young, the epitome of grace and elegance, was one of Hollywood's most devout Catholics. Her faith wasn't just a part of her life, it was the foundation of it. Young attended Mass daily, even during the height of her career, and was known for her unwavering moral standards. What many don't know is the extraordinary lengths she went to in order to reconcile her faith with the realities of Hollywood. In the 1930s, she had a secret child with Clark Gable, a scandal that could have ended her career. Instead of succumbing to the pressures of the industry, Young chose to raise her daughter privately, later adopting her publicly to protect her reputation and her faith. Even more surprising, Young's Catholicism influenced her career choices. She turned down roles that she felt were morally questionable, even if they promised box office success. Her television series, The Loretta Young Show, often featured themes of redemption and morality reflecting her personal beliefs. Behind the scenes, she was a generous supporter of Catholic charities and a mentor to younger actors struggling with the pressures of fame. Young's life was a testament to the power of faith in an industry that often demanded compromise. Pat Boone. Pat Boone, the clean-cut crooner of the 1950s, was a rare figure in Hollywood, a star who wore his Christian faith on his sleeve. Boone's rise to fame coincided with the rock and roll revolution, but unlike many of his contemporaries, he refused to conform to the rebellious image of the era. What's often forgotten is how Boone's faith shaped his career in ways that were both inspiring and controversial. He turned down roles and songs that he felt conflicted with his values, even when it meant losing out on major opportunities. Boone's commitment to his beliefs extended beyond his work. He was a vocal advocate for prayer in schools and other Christian causes, often putting him at odds with the changing cultural landscape of the 1960s. Even more surprising, Boone struggled with personal demons, including a battle with alcoholism, but credited his faith with helping him overcome them. He later became a best-selling author of books promoting Christian family values, further solidifying his role as a moral compass in an industry often criticized for its excesses. Boone's life is a reminder that faith, when deeply held, can be both a guiding light and a source of strength in the face of adversity. Dale Evans. Dale Evans, the Queen of the West, was more than just a singer, actress, and the wife of Roy Rogers. She was a woman whose Christian faith shaped every aspect of her life, even in the face of profound personal loss. What many don't know is that Dale's faith deepened after the death of her daughter Robin, who was born with Down syndrome and passed away before her second birthday. Instead of retreating into grief, Dale wrote a book, Angel Unaware, which became a Christian classic and inspired countless families to embrace children with disabilities. Dale and Roy went on to adopt several children, living out their belief in the sanctity of life and family. Behind the scenes, Dale was a prolific writer of Christian hymns, penning songs that are still sung in churches today. She also used her fame to advocate for faith-based causes, often speaking at Christian events and writing books that blended her Hollywood experiences with her spiritual journey. Dale's life was a testament to resilience and faith, proving that even in the glittering world of Hollywood, a life of service and devotion could shine brighter than any spotlight. Jimmy Stewart. Jimmy Stewart, the everyman of Hollywood, was more than just the star of It's a Wonderful Life. His Christian faith was a quiet but powerful force that guided him through a career spanning decades and a life marked by extraordinary events. Stewart's faith was deeply rooted in his Presbyterian upbringing, but it was his experiences during World War II that solidified his belief in a higher power. As a decorated bomber pilot, he faced unimaginable challenges, and he later credited prayer with helping him survive the war. What's often overlooked is how Stewart's faith influenced his most iconic role as George Bailey. The themes of redemption, sacrifice, and hope in It's a Wonderful Life mirrored his own values, making the performance deeply personal. Off-screen, Stewart was known for his humility and generosity, quietly supporting Christian charities and mentoring younger actors. He rarely spoke publicly about his faith, but those close to him knew it was the foundation of his character. Stewart's life was a reminder that true strength often comes from a quiet, unshakable belief in something greater than oneself. Anne Blythe. Anne Blythe, the luminous star of Mildred Pierce, was a rare figure in Hollywood, a devout Catholic who managed to balance her faith with a successful career. Blythe's commitment to her beliefs was evident in the roles she chose and the life she led away from the cameras. What many don't realize is that she was a member of the Catholic Actors Guild, an organization that supported faith-based initiatives in the entertainment industry. She often turned down roles that she felt conflicted with her values, even if it meant sacrificing career opportunities. Blythe's faith wasn't just a private matter. She actively participated in church activities and raised her children in the Catholic tradition. Behind the scenes, she was known for her kindness and humility, traits she attributed to her spiritual upbringing. Her career may not have been as prolific as some of her contemporaries, but her legacy as a woman of principle and faith remains unmatched. In an industry often criticized for its excesses, Blythe stood out as a beacon of integrity, proving that it was possible to succeed without compromising one's beliefs. Fred Astaire. Fred Astaire, the legendary dancer and actor, was known for his effortless grace on screen, but few realized the quiet strength of his Christian faith. He was a devout Episcopalian who credited his faith with helping him maintain humility and balance in the high-pressure world of Hollywood. Despite his fame, Astaire avoided the excesses of the industry, choosing instead to focus on his craft and his family. What's often forgotten is that Astaire's faith influenced his work ethic. He believed in using his God-given talents to the fullest, which drove him to rehearse tirelessly and set new standards for dance and film. Astaire also supported numerous Christian charities, particularly those focused on children and education. He rarely spoke publicly about his beliefs, but those who knew him described a man of quiet conviction and deep spirituality. Astaire's life was a study in contrasts, an artist who dazzled audiences with his performances while remaining grounded by his faith. In a world that often celebrated excess, Astaire's disciplined, principled approach to life and work was a revelation. Irene Dunne. Irene Dunne, often called the First Lady of Hollywood, was a woman whose elegance and talent were matched only by her deep Catholic faith. Her commitment to her beliefs was evident in every aspect of her life, from the roles she chose to the way she conducted herself off-screen. What many don't know is that Dunn attended Mass daily, even during the height of her career, and often prayed before making major decisions. She turned down roles that she felt were morally questionable, even if they promised box office success. Dunn's faith also inspired her to support numerous charities, particularly those focused on education and healthcare. Behind the scenes, she was a mentor to younger actors, offering guidance and support rooted in her spiritual values. Dunn's television appearances often included themes of redemption and morality, reflecting her personal beliefs. Her life was a testament to the power of faith in an industry that often demanded compromise. Dunn's legacy isn't just her films. It's the example she set as a woman of principle and grace in a world that often lacked both. Gary Cooper. Gary Cooper, the stoic leading man of High Noon and Sergeant York, was a Hollywood icon whose faith journey was as dramatic as any of his films. Cooper wasn't always a devout Christian. For much of his early career, he lived the fast-paced life of a Hollywood star, but everything changed in the late 1950s when he converted to Catholicism. This decision shocked many in the industry, as Cooper had been known for his carefree lifestyle. His conversion was deeply personal, influenced by his wife, Veronica Balfe, and his close friendship with Loretta Young, who encouraged him to explore his faith. What's even more surprising is how Cooper's newfound belief shaped his later career. He began turning down roles that conflicted with his values, even if they promised significant paychecks. His portrayal of Alvin York, a devout Christian and war hero, in Sergeant York became one of his most personal performances, as it mirrored his own spiritual transformation. In his final years, as he battled terminal illness, Cooper's faith gave him peace and strength, a fact he shared with close friends. His life was a testament to the power of redemption, proving that even in the glittering world of Hollywood, faith could offer a second act. Audrey Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn, the epitome of grace and elegance, was more than just a fashion icon and star of Breakfast at Tiffany's. Beneath her glamorous exterior was a woman whose Christian faith quietly guided her life. Hepburn's connection to Christianity was forged during her harrowing childhood in Nazi-occupied Europe. Raised in the Dutch Reformed Church, she credited her faith with helping her survive the trauma of war and hunger. What's rarely discussed is how Hepburn's spirituality influenced her later humanitarian work. After stepping away from Hollywood in the 1960s, she dedicated herself to helping children in need, becoming a UNICEF ambassador. Hepburn often spoke about the importance of prayer and reflection during her travels to war-torn regions, where she witnessed unimaginable suffering. Her faith also shaped her personal life. Despite her fame, she lived modestly and avoided the excesses of Hollywood, choosing instead to focus on her family and charitable work. Hepburn's legacy isn't just her films or her iconic style. It's the quiet strength of a woman who used her platform to make the world a better place, driven by a faith that remained unshaken through life's challenges. Bing Crosby. Bing Crosby, the velvet-voiced crooner of White Christmas and Going My Way, was one of the most beloved entertainers of the 20th century. Yet behind the smooth charm and effortless talent was a man deeply committed to his Catholic faith. Crosby's devotion wasn't just for show, it was the foundation of his life. He attended Mass daily, even during the height of his fame, and was known for his generous support of Catholic charities. What's often overlooked is how Crosby used his films to subtly promote his beliefs. His role as Father O'Malley in Going My Way, and its sequel, The Bells of St. Mary's, portrayed Catholic priests in a positive, relatable light, helping to humanize the church during a time of cultural change. Crosby's faith also helped him navigate personal tragedies, including the loss of his first wife, Dixie Lee. Despite his public image as a carefree entertainer, Crosby was a man of discipline and principle, often clashing with Hollywood executives over content he felt was inappropriate. His life was a balancing act between the demands of fame and the quiet strength of his beliefs, a duality that made him one of the most complex figures of his era. Greer Garson. Greer Garson, the luminous star of Mrs. Miniver, was a woman whose faith was as steadfast as the character she portrayed. Raised in the Church of England, Garson's Christian beliefs were a guiding force throughout her life and career. What's remarkable is how her faith influenced her choice of roles. She often played women of strength and integrity, characters who reflected her own values. Her performance in Mrs. Miniver, a film about a British family's resilience during World War II, resonated deeply with audiences and earned her an Academy Award. Behind the scenes, Garson was known for her generosity and humility, traits she attributed to her spiritual upbringing. She supported numerous charities, including those focused on education and healthcare, and often used her fame to advocate for causes she believed in. What's less known is that Garson turned down several high-profile roles because they conflicted with her principles, a bold move in an industry that often prioritized profit over morality. Her life was a quiet but powerful example of how faith could coexist with fame, proving that true strength comes from staying true to one's beliefs no matter the cost. Henry Fonda. Henry Fonda, the quiet force behind films like The Grapes of Wrath and 12 Angry Men, was a man whose Christian faith shaped his life in unexpected ways. Raised in a devout Christian household, Fonda's beliefs were instilled in him from a young age, but his faith evolved as he grew older. What's fascinating is how Fonda's spirituality influenced his choice of roles. He often portrayed characters with strong moral convictions, men who stood up for justice and truth, reflecting his own values. His portrayal of Tom Joad in The Grapes of Wrath was particularly personal, as it mirrored his belief in the importance of compassion and social justice. Off-screen, Fonda was known for his humility and integrity, qualities that earned him the respect of his peers. What's less known is that Fonda quietly supported numerous humanitarian causes, including civil rights and anti-poverty initiatives, often drawing on his faith as a source of inspiration. Despite the pressures of Hollywood, Fonda remained grounded, choosing to live a simple, principled life. His legacy is one of quiet strength and unwavering conviction, a reminder that true greatness often lies in the values we hold dear. Claudette Colbert. Claudette Colbert, the radiant star of It Happened One Night, was a woman whose Christian faith quietly shaped her life and career. Raised in a devout Catholic household, her beliefs were instilled in her from a young age, and she carried them with her into the glittering world of Hollywood. What's rarely discussed is how Colbert's faith influenced her approach to fame. Unlike many of her contemporaries, she avoided the excesses of the industry, choosing instead to live a disciplined and private life. She was known for her kindness and generosity, often supporting Catholic charities and quietly helping struggling actors behind the scenes. Even more astonishingly, Colbert passed on opportunities that conflicted with her values, a brave decision when actresses were largely controlled by studio contracts. Her faith also gave her strength during personal challenges, including a difficult marriage and health struggles later in life. Colbert's legacy isn't just her iconic performances, it's the example she set as a woman of principle and grace in an industry that often demanded compromise. Her life was a reminder that true success comes not from fame, but from staying true to one's beliefs. John Wayne. John Wayne, the rugged icon of westerns like True Grit and The Searchers, was a man whose Christian faith became a defining part of his later years. For much of his life, Wayne was known for his larger-than-life persona, but few realized the spiritual transformation he underwent in his final decade. Raised in a Presbyterian household, Wayne drifted from organized religion during his early career, but his faith was reignited in the 1970s when he converted to Catholicism. This decision was influenced by his family, particularly his first wife, Josephine, and his children, who were devout Catholics. What's even more fascinating is that Wayne's conversion wasn't a public spectacle, it was a deeply personal choice. He sought guidance from priests and spent his final years reflecting on his beliefs. His faith also influenced his work, as he began to take on roles that aligned with his values, portraying characters with strong moral convictions. In his final days, Wayne found solace in his faith, a fact that was revealed by those closest to him. His life was a journey of transformation, proving that even the toughest cowboy could find strength in spirituality. Jeanette MacDonald. Jeanette MacDonald, the operatic star of Naughty Marietta and Rose Marie, was a devout Christian whose faith was as unwavering as her voice was powerful. Raised in a Methodist household, MacDonald's beliefs were a cornerstone of her life, even as she rose to fame in the 1930s. What's often overlooked is how her faith influenced her career choices. MacDonald was known for her insistence on maintaining a wholesome image, often clashing with studio executives who wanted her to take on more provocative roles. She also used her platform to promote Christian values, performing at church events and supporting faith-based charities. Behind the scenes, MacDonald was deeply involved in her church community, often hosting Bible study groups at her home. Even more surprising, she turned down lucrative opportunities that she felt conflicted with her principles, a decision that earned her both respect and criticism in Hollywood. MacDonald's faith also gave her strength during personal challenges, including health issues that plagued her later years. Her life was a testament to the power of conviction, proving that it was possible to succeed in Hollywood without compromising one's beliefs. Robert Taylor. Robert Taylor, the dashing star of Camille and Waterloo Bridge, was a man whose Christian faith quietly guided his life and career. Raised in a devout Methodist household, Taylor's beliefs were instilled in him from a young age, and he carried them with him into the unpredictable world of Hollywood. What's rarely discussed is how Taylor's faith influenced his approach to fame. Unlike many of his peers, he avoided the excesses of the industry, choosing instead to focus on his craft and his family. He was known for his humility and generosity, often supporting Christian charities and mentoring younger actors. Surprisingly, Taylor even declined roles that didn't align with his personal values, which was a bold move given the power studios held over actors' careers. His faith also gave him strength during personal challenges, including a difficult divorce and health struggles later in life. Taylor's legacy isn't just his iconic performances, it's the example he set as a man of principle and grace in an industry that often demanded compromise. His life was a reminder that true success comes not from fame, but from staying true to one's beliefs. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment. Also consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell to get notified of our new videos each week. Thanks for watching.